Erase Tinker Bell from your head. In 1895 Ireland, asking to meet a fairy sounded like asking to die. The friendly tooth coin sprite is a Victorian facelift on something old and frightening. Fairy lore is how communities explain sickness, death, and the terror of losing control. And today, we're cutting into it. Who the good people are, why changelings lead to real bodies, and how Victorian art turns the horror into pretty wallpaper. Here's the baseline. 19th century collectors, think W.Y. Evans Wentz, sort fairies into three brutal files. File 1, Dwindled Gods. The Tuatha De Danann, Ireland's ancient warrior deities. After losing a mythic war, they retreat into hills and mounds. They don't retire, they stew. The Good Neighbor's title is a bribe, a way to avoid saying their names and making them angry. File 2, The Dead. The Sluag, the host of the unforgiven dead, move in screaming flocks from the west, snatching souls before a priest can get there. Doors and windows get shut on the western side for a reason. This isn't sugar dust folklore. It's a map for surviving the last minutes of a loved one's life. File 3, The Aboriginal Theory. Victorian science loves this one. David McCritchie argues fairies are a folk memory of a conquered, small-statured people hiding in caves. The magic is stealth, ambush, poison. You can hear the Empire thinking out loud. Everyone's folklore must be a conquest story. Now the most dangerous story in the set, the changeling. A baby stops thriving, stops speaking, or a spouse grows suddenly strange, weight drops, mood shifts, a fever won't break. That belief kills Bridget Cleary in 1895. 26, dressmaker, independent, modern by local standards. She falls sick with bronchitis. Her husband Michael flips the script from "My wife is ill" to "A fairy stole her." Over days, neighbors crowd the cottage. They force her to swallow bitter concoctions, drag her toward the hearth for tests, demand that she name herself. Then Michael burns her at the fire. In court, he says, "It is not Bridget I am burning. You will soon see her go up the chimney." He thinks he's rescuing his real wife from the mound folk. He thinks he's righteous. That's the horror. The story gives a murderer a halo. So how do writers handle this? They don't fluff it. W.B. Yeats publishes The Stolen Child in 1889, and those lines, "Come away, O human child," aren't a daydream. It's a siren song. The fairies promise escape from a world more full of weeping than you can understand. The price is your life. Yeats collected Irish folklore for years. He knows the stakes. He drapes the violence in music and lets you feel why people want to go. And Peter Pan? Everyone remembers the flying. Fewer remember the knife. In Peter and Wendy, J.M. Barrie writes, "The boys on the island vary, of course, in number, according as they get killed and so on, and when they seem to be growing up, which is against the rules, Peter thins them out. Neverland freezes time by force. Growth means death." Read Peter as a psychopomp, a guide between worlds, smiling while he keeps the island static. That's pure fairy logic. Break the rule of the hill, pay in blood. What does this look like on canvas? Madness, obsession, and exquisite detail. Richard Dadd paints the greatest fairy picture of the century, the fairy feller's masterstroke, while locked in Bedlam after killing his father under a delusion. The work is a thicket of tiny faces, twigs like prison bars, a ritual about to happen. No warmth, no whimsy. It's a mind you can't escape. Then the world staggers through World War I, bodies by the millions. Out of that grief, two girls in Cottingley stage fairy photos with paper cutouts and pins. Adults, desperate for wonder, swallow the trick. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, genius of rational detection, publishes The Coming of the Fairies in 1922 and defends the images. People mock him now, but step into 1917 and you understand the hunger. If the trenches are real, maybe the fairies are too. Any miracle will do. So where does that leave us? The good people you get in picture books exist because the originals terrify. Parents soften the tale for nurseries because the raw version stares straight at infant death, postpartum depression, dementia, war trauma, and the urge to blame someone, anyone, when the body betrays you. Folklore gives fear a face. Communities point to the mound, the west wind, the boy who never grows, and say, "There's the thief." And sometimes they punish a real living person to quiet that story. You don't have to believe in fairies to see their work. The changeling still lives whenever we treat illness like moral failure. The sluags still fly whenever a crowd decides a scapegoat will fix the chaos, and Peter still sharpens the knife every time we try to stop time and end up killing change itself. All right, your turn. Which version says the most about us? Yeats's stolen child, Barrie's killer boy, or the sluag at the window? And do you think the Bridget Cleary case is folklore's fault, or human cruelty wearing folklore as a mask? Tell me in the comments. If this kind of literary autopsy hits your shelves, subscribe for more. Until next time, keep your candles lit and your prefaces loaded.